Hi there, it's Maria Luz of Maria Luz Online. I'm an astrologer, certified hypnotist, and psychic medium, and I'm here for your Astro Energy Report for August 16th. The energy drivers for this week are the full moon in Aquarius on August 19th, Jupiter squares Saturn on August 19th. Venus is also making aspects to Jupiter and Saturn. There's also a retrograde palooza happening with Mercury, Chiron, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, and soon Uranus will join that party. So I have to say, most astrologers will be keeping it real mellow on August 19th because there will be a lot of big energy. And first, with the full moon, before we get to that big energy, I think those full moons are really about polarities because the sun and the moon are at the polar opposites. They're about what we have, reaping what we have sown, whether that was intentionally or not. And they're also about visibility. So Uranus, the ruler of this full moon, will be in a square with the moon and a sextile with the sun. So this to me points to acknowledging gaps that are exposed and without assigning blame, just going ahead and fixing things. So that is coming from the objective point of view that the moon in Aquarius can have. But again, Uranus is still holding on to this relationship with the fiery energy of the sun. So there's going to be some kind of action that's coming out of that to fix things. And then with the sun conjunct to asteroid Vesta, and also conjunct to Mercury, both in Leo, there is some attention to our commitment to, that's the Vesta piece, to self-leadership. That would be the Leo piece, and especially with our life's work or where we place our daily energy. Vesta has that component of the burning fire of the hearth, and so that's why I think those concepts of our daily work and just keeping the fires burning are coming into play. And then back to that big energy. So, if you know your Greco-Roman mythology, you will recall that Saturn ate his children because of a prophecy that one of his children would be the cause of his downfall. And Jupiter was the child that Saturn thought he ate because his wife Rhea tricked him and actually gave Saturn a stone wrapped in like a swaddling blanket. But Jupiter was saved. So Jupiter freed all of his siblings, and they then came together and overthrew Saturn and his cronies, and they became the Olympians and the new rulers. And so the mythology sets us up for, say, like a summer popcorn blockbuster movie, right? But wait, there's more. Jupiter's son, Mars, is standing by just a few degrees away from Jupiter in Gemini, ready to jump in. And then Venus is making a square to Jupiter and then making an opposition to Saturn. So big moves on Venus's part from a usually subdued sign of Virgo. So that's interesting. And then Mercury, of course, has retrograded back into Leo and sits as the ruler of Venus, Mars, and Jupiter because Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. So, I mean, what does all of this jumble mean? And I may have to ask more questions and not really have answers, but I hope they're useful questions to ask. And remember, Mercury is comfortable with holding dual truths. And and that maybe plus the moon in that cooler sign of Aquarius might be enough to calm down the multiple conflicts. But can we even sort out what the conflicts are about? So I think all of this big kind of confusing energy may foreshadow, sorry, the next 20 years or so when all of those Pluto and Leo generation individuals experience their Pluto oppositions as a collective. And Things were simpler and more straightforward when this generation was born. Those years were 1937 to 1957. And as we know, some have a nostalgia that borders on derangement and can be downright deadly. If you look at that January 6th, 2021 storming of the Capitol, that did end up in a loss of life and many people being traumatized. And that was in this effort to make America great again. Like, of how more nostalgic can you get than that? So, are they, this generation, going to be able to accept these multiple truths, which we also call diversity, as represented by Jupiter and Gemini, and acknowledge this arbitrary and artificial cutoff to who is considered an immigrant, or an outsider? That's that Saturn in Pisces, because that speaks to these hard to define borders. And also, I think Venus in Virgo points to acknowledging just who does that daily work, that service work. That's that Virgo component. And then finally, is Mercury in Leo meant to highlight the entitlement side of that sign, and ask us to look at the individuals maybe who are in that generation who lead in a different way, in a more humble or service-oriented way. So this confusing mass of energy has as a backdrop the overarching energy of the nodes of the moon being on this Aries Libra axis since July of 2023. And those, in addition to Chiron, the asteroid, which has been in Aries since 2018, pointing us to look at our intrinsic wounding and deal with that. That's really the backdrop for all of this energy. So we know there's something about standing in our power, but also not throwing out the care for other people, the relationship side of things. So lots of work that we've been asked to do. And with so many of the planets in retrograde motion, we certainly have this energy behind us to keep doing that rework, the review, the reassess, the revisiting key decisions, and then finally the redoing it if possible. So that's it for this week. I hope you stay sane out there, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching, and please share this channel if you find it helpful. And if you want to work with me, check out my website. I'll put everything in the show notes. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.